Hey, Shalom, back again with a quick lesson inspired through the Holy Spirit. Harakah Kodash, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Honors and respect to all my fellow ministers. Shalom to the listeners, the believers of the hopeful elect. And I was inspired to do a response to, or just actually a review on the Forever Purge. I went to go see it last night with my woman, and I liked it. And I'm just going through the trailer comments to see if anyone has seen it recently. And I got this comment here. It says, "This movie scared me. This is what I fear is America's future at the rate we're going." And that's exactly what prompted me to go ahead and do a video to this, man. You know what I'm saying? Look, and then you got this guy here, bro. You need to get out. It's just a movie. What else you think? Freddy Krueger's real? And these are the type of people that's gonna be getting mulled down. You know, that's gonna be they're gonna be in very bad case when this shit hit the fan, because it really is about to be this way. And various scriptures support this. All right, because basically that was 2nd Esdras 13, 2nd Esdras 15, 2nd Esdras 16, all in the film, which is all prophecy. All right, to happen. And just to begin, let's just get this quick precept, because you had this happening. 2nd Esdras 13 and 29, it says, "Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth." All right, the scriptures talk about how the day of the Lord is going to be like a thief in the night. Verse 31, it says, "And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, one realm against another." All right, and this is exactly what was going on in that film. You had all hell breaking loose, man. The shit that we be warning and saying is coming down the pipe. All right, according to the prophecies, all that shit hit the fan. All right, and it was very spiritual. You had pretty much out of all the people in the film, you only saw two nations of people, which you only seen Jacob and Esau. All right, Jacob being the 12 tribes, which represent the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. And then you had Esau, so like it, which represents the so-called white people. There was no others in that film. And you had basically, after the purge had ended, you had a band of Edomites, pretty much, that wanted to cleanse the United States by getting rid of basically Israelites. They wanted to get rid of Mexicans. They wanted to get rid of blacks, because it was a scene in the movie where you had black people in the back of the truck. So they basically wanted to purify the nation. That's what they were pushing. And yeah, that's exactly what the scriptures say. Let's get one more This is Isaiah. What is it? Oh, no, actually, the Lord prophesied of this. He said, "One nation against another." Say Matthew 24 and 7. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow." So that's what we saw. We saw nation against nation, which the main nations that's at play in this whole earth is Jacob versus Esau. All right, because this is the story of good versus evil. All right, let's prove that real quick. This is Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 33, verse 14. All right, good is set against evil, and life is against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. So that's what you saw in the film. You saw one group of people against another, and it was spiritual, because you had all the tribes, all right, come together. At one point, you had so-called black man and the so-called Hispanic woman. All right, you had a scene where you even had Gad, the so-called Native American. It was a guy with the two braids, long hair, and he was shooting a bow and arrow. All right, so this was all spiritual. It was showing all the tribes, rising up at the end. You know what I'm saying? And then you had a scene where you had Jake and you had a so-called black man, a so-called Latino woman get arrested. All right, after the purge, they were defending themselves, and the police thought that they were committing crimes when they was really defending themselves. They was on the back of the truck, and then you had a real Edomite. So I really like that scene because it really showed you Esau. You know what I'm saying? This was a guy who had I think he had a swastika tatted on his face. He was bald headed, and all the guns and shit were firing off, and he was able to, tell you what all the guns were. You know what I'm saying? He said, oh, that's an AK-47. Oh, that's a AR-15. Oh, that's a Glock 22. He was just calling out all the guns, and that was really the spirit of Esau, man. He wanted to get out. He was going crazy. He wanted to get violent. He was using racial slurs, and you know what I'm saying. And then you had another scene that was spiritual. You had one guy who was telling the Issacharite, the Mexican, telling him, hey, I don't have nothing against your people. It's just that I believe we should all be with our own people. You know what I'm saying? Just be, which is scriptural. You know what I'm saying? Which the Lord is about that. The Lord was about separating and having people amongst their own people, particularly the Israelites amongst themselves, and not mixing with the other nations. He only did that to really to punish us by having us scattered amongst the nations. But it was spiritual because the guy ended up getting saved with them, which I believe through the spirit he represented the Israelite foreigner. He was a so-called white guy, but he didn't have that spirit of Esau on him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have that spirit to want to try to kill Jake and shit. He was actually, pretty cool, and he was with him. You know what I'm saying? And he was saved with him, and his child was born in Mexico, and he was cool. And so through the spirit, I believe he represented the Israelite foreigner. It was just highly spiritual, man. This is Jeremiah 50:33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives had held them fast. They refused to let them go. All right, and so that's what's happening now. It's like the northern and the southern kingdom are pressed together here in Babylon the Great. All right, and this movie showed, I like how they really focused in on the Hispanic tribes, because on the last one, it was racial too. All right, the fourth one that came out, you had the northern and the southern kingdom coming together too, and it was skinheads and shit coming against them. All right. And these skinheads, they was like Russian missionaries or some shit that was hired to come out and come into the city of New York and purge out. To get rid of basically the blacks and Hispanics, pretty much the blacks and Puerto Ricans. That's who it was, but that represented Judah and Israel. All right, so I like how they went from that one to this one. They even threw Gad in the mix, and so man, it was good shit. And then at the end, it showed America on fire, man. All right, because pretty much you had the city was the nation was so divided. Matter of fact, let's get St. Luke 12 and 49. It says, I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? And man, that fire was kindled, man. Because pretty much that's how this shit gonna be before the Lord come back. This shit gonna be going down, boy. It's gonna be all hell breaking loose out here, man. The Lord coming back to a faithless society. And that's what what was seen in the movie. All right, nothing was safe. It was all lawlessness. Anything was going, and that's what the scripture said would happen. It said, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Men's hearts fell in them for fear because of the things of what shall come on the earth. It said a time like none other. See, so it says, and what will I if it be already kindled? Jumping up to 51, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth, I tell you, neighbor, rather division. And that's what was going on. It was divided. You had pretty much the forever purgers, all right, divided against everybody else. If you wasn't a part of them, they was knocking you off. They was killing you. You know what I'm saying? And then the military, they couldn't. The military had to retreat because these forever purgers, they was too much for the military. So it just goddamn went crazy in that bitch, man. It was crazy. I had another precept I was gonna give. What was it? But yeah, man. So it was oh yeah, and it was on fire. So basically, the nation, was just tearing itself apart. They showed a map at the end where pretty much everything was just on fire, man. Everything was just flamed on fire, bro. Everything was burning. The people just went crazy. A lot of people was dying, and that's exactly what. Hey, matter of fact, let's get Isaiah 65. Then I'm gonna get the one in Ezekiel too, or it might be in Jeremiah. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. And that word plead means to judge. All right, so he's going to judge all flesh with fire and with his sword. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. All right, so it's going to be a lot of people, all right, that get killed, all right, leading up to the day when the Lord come, and even when the Lord make his return. This is Jeremiah 25:33. And we can start up at 31. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord have a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, said the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Man, it's going to be a lot of people dying out here, man. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. All right, this is coming. It's like it. This is 2nd Esdras 15:14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there should be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's what was happening in the film. All right, people was doing whatever the hell they wanted to, man. It was straight lawless in that bitch. All right, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And that shit was scary, man, because you get to seeing that shit, man. If you ain't in the spirit, all right, if you ain't got this wisdom and this knowledge, keeping you stable, then you gonna lose your mind. You gonna lose your mind in that day, man. And then that's what was happening. People was losing it, man. And people are already on edge, in real life. Going back to this comment, you got idiots talking about, oh, it's just a movie, not knowing that what the elites do is that they put these things in movies. This is their way of prophesying, all right? Everything the Lord has a left hand and a right hand. So on the left hand side, just like on the right hand, you have Yahushua and his priesthood, which represent, the body of Yahushua, beginning with the elder apostles on down. On the left hand side, you got Satan. Satan, has his priesthood on the earth. He have his people that write these films and and cast these enchantments on the media. All right, this is their version of prophesying. All right, they're prophesying on the left hand side. And so people looking at this and they thinking, oh, it's just another. They corny. It could have been better. This was cringeworthy, not knowing that this is not just for your entertainment. All right, this is a prelude, all right, or omen to what's to come. They done purged this series into the damn ground. See, it ain't about just making money and all that shit. This shit is about to be a reality. And you people gonna be out here partaking in it, all right? Because you gonna be killing each other. You gonna fulfill these prophecies that we're reading about. Friends fighting against another. Let's get that. 2nd Esdras 6. This is why, the Lord has his prophets out to warn the Israelites to repent and come back to the Lord so that they can be covered during this time. Because the Lord has promised that the elect are going to be okay. All right, this is 2nd Esdras 6. and I'm gonna start at 18 and jump down. It says, and it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. And that's where we at now. We at the stage where the affliction of Zion is being fulfilled. All right, we pretty much fulfilled the prophecies. We went through the Deuteronomy 28:68, coming here on slave ships. You know, we went through Jeremiah 17:4, having our heritage taken away from us. All right, everything is being fulfilled. So now we're at the point now where the elect are starting to come back into the, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, knowing who the Lord is. They're repenting and they're seeking the Lord. And now the Lord is about to go ahead and make inquisition, meaning he's finna inquire. He's about to, he's sending the angels here to report, and he's about to get ready to bring these last set of prophecies to pass and destroy this place and get us out of here. All right. Jumping down to verse 22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give sound. When every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. And that can be likened to that alarm on the purge. When that alarm will go off, people will get a little nervous. It's like, okay, another night. It's like, oh, another purge night. They're a little nervous, unless you were part of the rich and you had all the nice little technology to close it, to cover your doors and make sure you were safe and shit. But and that was another part of the film too, because you had people that was mad that they wasn't rich, and they didn't have what the rich people would have to protect themselves on purge night. So that was another thing, but yeah, man. So when that trumpet give a sound, every man heareth, they should be suddenly afraid. Once people, never mind. But I was gonna say, once people hear, about these food shortages, and shit. Once this next trumpet sound, man, in spirit, people gonna be out here getting wild out here, man. And we close. Verse 24. At that time shall friends fight against one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. So it said friends are gonna fight against one another like enemies, man. It's like it's past my bedtime. I gotta go to bed, but yeah, I just had to do this, So yeah, and this video is a lot longer than I expected, but it's all coming back to me. But Lord willing, this was edifying though. I'm gonna go ahead and end there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close with Isaiah 33:6, because it makes more and more sense as the days go forward that we gotta have this wisdom to get us through navigate us through these times. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. All right, that word stability goes into the Hebrew word amawan, which means faith. All right, so this wisdom and knowledge is going to give us the faith, all right, to get through these times. And strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is his treasure. All right, on to the next. Shalom.